Back tonight on In Focus, Africans and foreign nationals alike will be deliberating, will be plagued, shall I say, by deliberating queues at Home Affairs waiting to apply for ID documents and passports. And an in-depth expose on the Daily Maverick news shows that staff shortages amounting to over 9,000 vacancies are shockingly due to underfunding, dilapidating work at Home Affairs. The report further details how budget cuts, regular network failures are causing backlogs and queues across the country. Joining us now to discuss the alleged state of affairs there is Public Servants Association Acting Deputy General Manager Reuben Maleka. Reuben, good evening and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. What's happening there at Home Affairs? It looks like it's massive challenges that are not being easily resolved at this particular point. How do we get to over 9,000 unfunded vacancies?
Yeah, thank you very much, Thabo, and good evening to the viewers at home. Yeah, first of all, the situation at Home Affairs is really very scary. We are at a stage where we believe that, the remaining staff that is there is really under pressure. They are not even coping in terms of service delivery. You know that Home Affairs is one of the key departments. When a child is born, it's Home Affairs. When someone gets married, it's Home Affairs. When somebody dies, it's Home Affairs. When we have to travel, in fact, it's Home Affairs. So Home Affairs is key in our lives as people of South Africa, and even those that would be coming from other countries, because the movement of people is controlled by this key department. However, we have noted with serious concern, as you know, Thabo, in the previous reports, we have seen that some of our members, especially that are frontline workers, they have been also being attacked by, the public or people that they serve in terms of services that they render at Home Affairs, mainly for the fact that they are not capable. There is not enough capacity in terms of human capital. If you go to the Department of Home Affairs today, you'll find that if there's a front desk with 10 service points, you'll find mostly that there are less people than the service points, not because people are off sick, not people that are not coming to work, simply because there's a shortage of staff. We have seen with civic services that indicates that only about 47% of posts have been filled. Tells you that 53% of the actual capacity needed to service the public in terms of Home Affairs services is absent. And this is exacerbated by the fact that we just come from the COVID. There's backlog in terms of, especially with dealing with issues of, asylum seekers and all those kind of services. The Home Affairs Department, the current staff is under pressure that is unbelievable, and it's urgent that at some point the Department of Finance, Treasury, needs to come in to make sure that there's enough budget to make this key department to be workable. Yeah. We all see what is happening in the border management in terms of inspectorate, which is immigration officials. They are overpowered. They are nowhere to be seen. And that is basically means that we are at a risk as a country because of this dysfunctional Home Affairs.
Yeah, that this civic service vacancies are actually not mentioned in the annual report. Many are saying this shows that they are unfunded or they are not approved. What answers are you getting to that questions around these unfunded vacancies?
Look, we have been raising this matter of unfilled, unfunded vacancies of Home Affairs for quite some time in the departmental chamber. The only answer we always get is that Treasury has cut the budget in terms of, salaries, and therefore the department is unable to fund, those vacant, unfunded positions. And we feel that, I'm sure if we go back to, the nature of this department, one can agree that having that particular risk of a department that is not capable of doing its own function, which is also, remember, Home Affairs is a security department. And if a security department is incapacitated, Therefore, we run as a risk in terms of security. And that is why we have been insisting as the PSA in the chamber that it is not only about our members that are attacked, which is a fact that on a daily basis our members are attacked by the public. Some are not even able to go after the closed office of the Home Affairs, where you'll find that, in fact, the public will storm the offices, force themselves that they will not leave until they have been served. Of course, it's a principle that those who are already in the offices must be served. However, there's already a kind of a pattern that people would be storming the offices when they realize that it's time for people to close and go home. It's 4:30. Then they'll storm the offices, get themselves in, and force that you'll be served. And it put the lives of our members at risk at all times. It put the public themselves at risk. So we of the view that this situation of Home Affairs requires an urgent attention. It requires all role players, especially the Department of Finance, Treasury, to come into place to make sure that this key security department, which is Home Affairs, is given capacity and is able to function, because it poses a risk not only to us as South Africans, but also to those who comes into this country.
Have any of the commitments that were made in the bargaining chamber being at least attempted? I mean, one of them being 1,000 posts to be advertised beginning April. Did that advert come out, and have they already started advertising those 1,000 posts?
Yes, of course. There's been, indications that some positions have been, advertised, but obviously, as you say, that is about 1,000 that needs to be filled in this current financial year. And you can imagine 1,000 out of the already insufficient 9,000 that is still outstanding. It's just a drop in the ocean. However, given the progress that needs to be done, we thought that by this time around May, we'd have seen a flood of advertisements in the department in a haste to fill these positions. But we noticed drips and drabs of adverts going out to show that the department is trying to fill up those positions. Yeah. But it still is not enough. Even, Thabo, if you look at the current 9,000 that is mentioned of those that are vacant, it's just a number that should have been filled. Yeah. But if you look at the nature of this department and its capacity, one can agree with us to say that it actually not even reaching its potential because of the numbers that they have, that they are already short of. Because as we speak right now, you know that we just agreed to an establishment of border management agencies, which will obviously take over the immigration services, which is going to ensure that there's a proper border management. However, currently, as we speak in the country, there is no capacity to deal with inspectorate. Yeah. There's no accountability about movements of people within the country. People can move anywhere else in the country, whether they're documented or undocumented. The fact is that the inspectorate does not have resources and capacity to deal with that with such incidences, because it's abnormal in a country to have people to move up and down without being accounted for. There should have been, a serious capacity where every corner you go of this country, you'll find immigration inspectorate obviously being able to perform that particular function, yeah, to make sure that whoever is in this country can accounted for, can be able to say that I'm here, I've got a passport, I'm here, I'm an asylum seeker, I'm here, I'm a South African, I'm a citizen, whatever reasons that people should be saying why they should be accounted to be moving around in this country. But that capacity, Thabo, is unfortunately not available at this point in time. And that is our worry as the organization, as the PSA, because we have been saying all the time that the battle to make sure immigration really works needs to actually have started long time ago, but we have seen now that Treasury is also not playing its part to make sure that this department is capacitated.
Lack of budget, lack of online connectivity, lack of modernization in many offices, staff shortages, as you've already mentioned. This, of course, then requires that your members get their hands on deck. What's the conversation around overtime pay, around leave, and how does this frustrate the whole process?
Look, let me also first start with the issue of the, before we go to the issue of the overtime and leaves and other things, which obviously is also a major challenge, because where you already have less capacity that is even below 50%, it becomes a huge challenge of people to take leave, because if you've got to have 10 staff members at the workstation and you only have 5, the question is that who takes leave when? And remember, there are different kinds of leave. You might find you've got 5, and 1 is already on maternity leave, 1 is on a sick leave, so we are left with 3. So when are they going to take their actual vacation leave, which is they're entitled to? So it is just a crisis if you look at the current capacity of the department, and also for members to exercise their own rights in terms of leave. We have members that will tell you that they were unable to take leave for quite some time, and at some point they even forfeit, because the employer can, in terms of the Act, extend for a particular period to allow you to take leave. But if some of them really, at some point, they are even unable to take their leave that they forfeit. And it's a concern, because it's not about taking leave. Leave is also meant for making sure that people can recharge, can be able to come back refreshed, and make sure that they render service. And that is not happening. And the issue of Saturdays, that that matter has already been resolved. There was an attempt some years ago. We even went to the Constitutional Court as the PSA. We won that matter in the Constitutional Court, that the department cannot unilaterally change and make Saturday a normal working day, because that was an attempt to circumvent the payment of overtime. So as we speak right now, the department must pay overtime for Saturdays, though it is not a desired situation, because we thought instead of paying overtime, they should be actually having capacity to service people on time, so that they don't need to be thinking about overtime. They should be having enough capacity that will eliminate overtime. And the last thing, Thabo, is the issue of the downtown turn of the system. We have heard that previously we have raised this matter, where the minister also obviously raised that it could be the issue of the service provider. In this case is SITA, that obviously would not necessarily provide adequate support to make sure that if you go to a department, because that is one of the frustrating moments of when clients or the public arrives at Home Affairs, they are told that you are offline. That irritates the public, that at some point, some of them even assume that our members are not willing to assist, or they're lazy to do their work. That is a big challenge as we speak right now.
Reuben Maleka, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Public Servants Association Acting Deputy General Manager Reuben Maleka. We did reach out to the Department of Home Affairs, and hopefully in time they'll also get to respond to us to some of these issues. Now,